House will please be in order. Those persons not having privilege of the floor will please vacate the chamber. All members and guests in the galleries will please rise as we are led in prayer today by Pastor Mike Harper, guest of the gentleman from the 60th, Douglas Farrell.
Shall we bow in prayer? Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this, another day you blessed us with. And Father, what a privilege it is to stand in your presence in this beautiful chamber to give thanks to you for your amazing blessings upon this land and this state. Lord, our country needs your help right now. As the psalmist said, I will lift up my eyes until the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord. We come in your presence with humble hearts, seeking your wisdom and guidance on behalf of our nation, our state, and our world. We thank you for the great land that we call the United States of America. And we thank you for the privileges that we and the freedoms we enjoy here as citizens of this great land. And those privileges come with a heavy price. We ask your blessings upon our military and their families, both here and foreign lands. And Father, as a father, I ask your protection for my son, Staff Sergeant Daniel Harper of the 130th Airlift here in Charleston, along with his fellow servicemen and women who are being deployed to the Middle East. Watch over our West Virginia sons and daughters. Protect our first responders as they serve to protect us. Lord, we ask your blessings upon our President, Donald Trump, and Vice President Vance, our senators, Shelley Moore Capito and Jim Justice, and our representatives in Washington, D.C. I earnestly pray for our governor, Governor Patrick Morrisey. Bless him with wisdom and direction as he leads the state. And Father, I also lift up our delegates who are present here today. I thank you especially for my delegate, Dana Farrell, and the great attention he has given to the people of Sissonville, my hometown. Father, please give all these individuals wisdom and discernment today as they decide laws that will affect all citizens. And Father, may we continue to look to you for guidance. In Jesus' precious name we do pray, and amen.
Please remain standing as we are led in the Pledge of Allegiance today by the gentleman of the 26th District, Delegate Rohrbach.
If members and guests would please join me in reciting the pledge to the flag of the greatest country in the world.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members and guests may be seated. Reading of the Journal.
Journal of the House of Delegates, February 17, 2026.
Gentleman the first, Delegate McGeehan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unanimous consent that the further reading of the journal be dispensed with and that it be approved as having been read.
The gentleman the first asks unanimous consent that further reading of the journal be dispensed with and that it be approved as having been read. Are there objections? There are no objections. Introductions. Gentleman the 27th, Douglas Amos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I'm greatly honored to have my page with me today, Miss Lily McCauley. Lily is a student at Huntington Middle School and is here with her mother, Mitzi Payne. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the House could make her feel welcome.
Gentleman the 61st, Douglas Jeffries.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With us today, serving as pages from Elkview Middle School, are Charlie Ayers, who's here with his father, Charlie, Gavin Hall, which is here with his mother, Shannon, Sam Southern, here with his father, Justin. If you'll make them feel welcome. And one other page with us today, serving from Elk Valley Christian School, is the nephew of our former Speaker of the House, Tim Armstead. We have Zeke Armstead with us. If the House would make him feel welcome.
Gentleman the 55th, Douglas Akers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my privilege this morning to introduce you all to Natalie Smith. John Adams Middle School student here in Kanawha County. That's where my kids all went to school. Natalie is accompanied here today by her mother, Brittany. So let's all give Natalie a warm welcome. Thank you for being here, Natalie.
Number from the 23rd, Douglas Worrell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm privileged to have a couple pages here today. First, we have Garrett Groves. If Garrett would stand up, he's from the Village Barbersville, big basketball and baseball player, joined in the West Gallery by his mother, Shelley. And then also we have Topher Stoner from Barbersville Middle School on the other side of the house here. And he's a big basketball player at Barbersville Middle School. And he's joined by his mother, Jana, and also his uncle, Rich. If they would all stand up in the gallery, and if the house would please make them feel welcome.
Number from the 17th, Douglas Pinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. We're joined today in the North Gallery by the winners of the 2025 West Virginia Conservation Farm of the Year Award. And as I call these folks' name, if they would please stand first, we have Father P.J. Penley, his wife, Miss Jessica, and then we have their daughters, Paisley, Josie, and Tilly. If they would all please stand and the House give them a round of applause and congratulations.
Gentleman from the 46th, Douglas Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Delegate Canterbury and I have 2 pages today. If they will stand when I call their name, they're from Eastern Greenbrier Middle School 6th grade students, Hadley Adkins and Wesley Ridpath. They are here with their parents today who are seated in the West Gallery. If they'll stand when I call their name, Heather Adkins and Lance Ridpath. Will the House please make them welcome?
Gentleman from the 66th, Douglas Kyle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everyone. I've got a page this morning from Tucker Valley, Miss Naomi Dean, and she's joined in the gallery, in the North Gallery, by Randolph County Conservation Supervisor James Dean, which is her father, and her grandmother Portia Dean. If you guys will please make them feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 67th, Douglas Coop Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have some very special guests today, and I think I'd be fair in saying that every community has those people that everyone there knows, and they're really a cornerstone. I have some of them today in the North Gallery from Elkins. I've got John and Amanda Jones and their daughter Courtney Jones, and she happens to be the Miss West Virginia Association of Fairs and Festivals, among many other accolades. We're very proud of her for having that. Please give them a warm welcome.
Gentleman from the 16th, Douglas Parsons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have several introductions today. First, they're in the North Gallery from Leadership Jackson County. First, Cinda Francis, who is the president of the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce. Kelsey Terry, Sam Dennis, Patrick Francis, and Tom Sussman. Would the House please make them feel welcome? Additionally, in this North Gallery, from the Western Conservation District, I have Joe Casto and Don Stevens, and the Executive Director of the West Virginia Conservation Agency, Judith Lyons. Would the House please make them feel welcome?
Gentleman from the 28th, Douglas Browning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a few introductions today. I'll start with, I have 4 pages from Wayne County. Miss Ava Huger, if you'd stand when I call your name. Gracie Bailey, Kinley Slayton of Cerrito Canova Middle School, and also Miss Hope Sloan of Buffalo Middle School. Fun fact, Miss Gracie Bailey's grandfather was former delegate and Speaker of the House, Richard Thompson. If you could please make them feel welcome. Thank you. And in the North Gallery, I have several friends from Wayne County. Mr. Jason Eakers, who is the Conservation Supervisor of Wayne County, President of the County Farm Bureau, and the Agriculture Mentor for Wayne County Schools. Mr. Tanner Eakers, who is the FSA Committee Chairman, Riley Eakers, and Mr. Brian Thompson, who is the Vice President of Wayne County Farm Bureau and owner of Thompson Electric. If you please make them feel welcome. And then last but not least, of course, I'm pleased to announce that today's West Virginia Academy of Family Physicians docs of the day are Dr. Sherry Young, Dr. Nick Miller, and Dr. Taylor Rice. If the House could please make them feel welcome.
Gentleman the 11th, Dr. Fehrenbacher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I have the privilege and honor of recognizing former delegate and father of our soon-to-be sworn-in new delegate, John Kelly. Please extend to him a warm House welcome.
Gentleman the 86th, Dr. Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everybody. I'm proud to introduce a young lady from back home in Matthias. She was also had earned the honor of Conservation Farm of the Year. Her husband had to stay back home, but she is accompanied by her nephew, Robbie Sutton, and if the House would please make them feel welcome.
Gentleman the 14th, Dr. Foggin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the North Gallery, I'd like to welcome some friends from Wood County. They're with the Assessor's Office, Teresa McIntyre, Christina Harrison, and Corey Gilchrist. If you would stand and say hello. Thank you.
Gentleman the 44th, Dr. Roop.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, we have a special group from Woodrow Wilson High School that I'd like to introduce to you. Arthur Bennett, Ian Bishop, Brianna Donnell, Clara Gamble, Cameron Green, Belle Heights, Emily Kelly, Amelia Mullins, Cheyenne Stapleton, Larry Stomile, Kelly Ward, Justin Wickline, and they are here with their teachers and aides, Miss Jamera, Miss Vicki Moss, Miss Click, and my favorite sister and teacher, Mary Roop. Give them a big warm welcome. Thank you.
Gentleman the 13th, Dr. Heckert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the West Gallery today, we have a very special guest from Wood County who just returned from Dubai. Her name is Mariana Matar. She's accompanied by her mother, Layla Tanari, and a family friend, Jean Yoho. Please make them feel welcome.
Gentleman the 5th, Dr. Fluharty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the elder statesmen from the 4th, we have a group of young people from Wheeling who are dedicated to retaining and returning young professionals from the group Why Don't You Stay a While? They're focused on the youth. I wish we were a little more. And if they would stand, Spencer Porter, Hillary Kenny, DeMar Moulton, Taylor Mick, and Rosemary Ketchum, and if you would all make them feel welcome.
Gentleman the 25th, Dr. Hornbuckle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. Today I have a page with me, and I'd like to introduce him. With us today we have William Rawlings from GW High School here in Charleston. He's a 10th grader involved in track and the business club. He also has his father, who's a friend of mine, in the West Gallery today, Chris Rawlings. House, please make him feel welcome.
Are there further introductions? If not, standing committee reports.
Your Committee on Education has had under consideration House Bill 5453 to modify the school aid funding formula. Reports the committee substitute back, therefore, with the recommendation the committee substitute do pass, but first be referred to your Committee on Finance.
The report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 5203 to forbid any municipality from issuing an ID for the purposes of voting in a municipal election. It reports the same back with recommendation that do pass.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 5105 relating to financial exploitation of a person in recovery. House Bill 5198 relating to crimes against the intellectually disabled, and House Bill 5214 relating to drug testing of parents who have had abuse and/or neglect claims substantiated against them prior to reunification, and reports committee substitutes back therefore with recommendation that each do pass.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Finance has had under consideration a committee substitute for House Bill 4087 to create a West Virginia-Ireland Education Alliance. House Bill 4404 increase the allowance for volunteer and part-time volunteer fire companies and allowing fire departments to make an expenditure for educational and training supplies and fire prevention promotional materials. House Bill 5500 permitting the Berkeley County Commission to levy a special district excise tax for the benefit of Berkeley County Economic Opportunity Development District under certain conditions. Senate Bill 393, updating corporate net income tax definitions, and committee substitute for Senate Bill 400, updating personal income tax definitions and provisions of law relating to gaming and gambling losses, and reports the same back with the recommendation that each do pass.
Message will be received. Report will be received.
Your Committee on Finance had under consideration House Bill 5168 to increase funding for EMS first responders. The reports committee substitute back therefore with the recommendation that committee substitute do pass.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Health and Human Resources had under consideration House Bill 4067, providing any employee working 20 hours or more per week in a licensed child care center or certified family child care home is eligible for a child care subsidy regardless of their household income, and House Bill 4517 to maximize the utility and accessibility of West Virginia's child care tax credit for employers, and reports to committee substitutes back therefore with the recommendation that each do pass but first be referred to your Committee on Finance.
Report will be received. Each bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Energy and Public Works has had under consideration House Resolution 13, proposing approval of United States House Resolution 5966, Ohio River Restoration Program Act. Reports committee substitute back therefore with the recommendation that committee substitute be adopted, but first be referred to your Committee on Rules.
Report will be received. Resolution will be referred to the Committee on Rules. We have other standing committee reports. If not, select committee reports, executive messages, Senate messages.
The Clerk of the Senate announces that the Senate has passed House Bill 4474 without amendment, extending the Alzheimer's Disease and Other Dementia Advisory Council sunset date.
Message will be received.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 640, prohibiting release of certain personal information of contributors to political elections.
Message will be received.
Committee
Gentleman the first.
Mr. Speaker, unanimous consent that committee reference be dispensed with and the bill be taken up for immediate consideration, read first time.
Gentleman from the first, ask unanimous consent that committee substitute for Senate Bill 640 be taken up for immediate consideration, have its committee reference be dispensed with, and be read a first time. Are there objections? No objections are heard. Clerk will please read the bill a first time.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 640, prohibiting release of certain personal information of contributors to political elections.
The bill will be advanced to second reading. Further Senate messages.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 643, discontinuing West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals public campaign financing program.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary.
Senate Bill 712, allowing installation of cattle guards on certain public roads.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Energy and Public Works.
Senate Bill 793, relating to courthouse closures on certain days.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary.
Senate Bill 796, relating to distribution of West Virginia reports.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 800, clarifying policy of state regarding jury service.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on the Judiciary. Other Senate messages, resolutions, petitions, bills introduced, motions, unfinished business, bills on third reading.
Senate Bill 208, exempting certain military records from public release.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having this? Chair's in error. This bill was advanced to third reading with a general right to amend. Are there amendments? There are no amendments. Clerk will please read the bill a third time.
Senate Bill 208, exempting certain military records from public release.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman of the 55th, Douglas Akers, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 208 creates a new section of code which is designed to work in conjunction with existing code regarding that relates to the Freedom of Information Act under Chapter 29. This bill would protect sensitive military information from public disclosure, provides that certain records are exempt from disclosure under the state's Freedom of Information Act, exempts information from properly classified that is properly classified to protect state or national security, portions of records related to vulnerability assessments, other sensitive military information, along with shared information between the Department of Defense, Armed Forces, the United States, National Guard, or Department of Homeland Security, when that information or public disclosure the same would threaten public safety, endanger military personnel, or provide a military advantage to an adversary. That's a brief description of the bill. Mr. Speaker, urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman from the 100, Doug Ridenhour, is recognized.
Yes, I'd like to take a couple minutes to address some of the issues related to this and so the public understands the rationale for this bill and why it is important for us to pass this bill. I spent 40 years dealing with classified information in the Marine Corps and DOD. I spent 16 years doing strategic counterintelligence against all of our foreign adversaries, as well as other entities, other countries that engaged in intelligence collection against us. We have a massive intelligence collection apparatus by various foreign adversaries directed against our country, specifically our principal foreign adversaries, the PRC, the People's Republic of China, Russia. In the case of the PRC, they have what we would call in counterintelligence the vacuum cleaner. They vacuum up every bit of information they possibly can. They then aggregate that information into something that will identify vulnerabilities of not only our forces, but operational activities that we're engaged in. I did the same thing against various foreign adversaries when we did intelligence analysis prior to working in counterintelligence. And as I worked in counterintelligence, we did the same thing relative to potential targets when we were doing counterterrorism operations. So this is vitally important. It does appear sometimes to the public that things are trying to be hidden. This is information that will protect our troops, will protect operations, protect our state and our country. These entities are trying to find small, minute details that they can potentially exploit in order to conduct operations against us. You can see that in the case of 9/11. Simply the understanding that the doors would not be locked on the cabins, how they could get access to those the cockpits so that they could then engage, and some of the other vulnerabilities that were identified when we did a counterintelligence review of 9/11. We found out how they were doing the types of intelligence collection. Almost everything they did was unclassified. They were collecting that type of information up in order to figure out what vulnerabilities we had so that they can conduct the attack. So I think this is an important bill. It's something that the National Guard has requested. It's something DOD is directing the National Guard to try and get done within our legislature. I think this is important, and I just want us to understand that this is not an effort to do anything nefarious. This is simply an effort to ensure that our troops and our operations that they may be engaged in are protected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is there further debate on the bill? If not, does the gentleman of the 55th wish to close debate on the bill? The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result. On that question, there were 92 ayes, 0 nays, and 7 members absent. A majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Senate Bill 208.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4009 relating to the creation of Portable Benefit Account Act.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman from the 72nd, Douglas Riley, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Portable Benefits Act would authorize portable benefit accounts, which are accounts opened by an independent contractor to fund the purchase of one or more benefit plans, including plans such as retirement benefits, health insurance, life insurance, and income replacement insurance. Voluntary contributions to a portable benefit account may be made from the funds of a hiring party or a percentage of funds withheld from compensation. voluntary contributions and require an independent contractor to opt in or opt out at any time. This bill also authorizes additional modifications to the federal taxable income for the purpose of West Virginia personal income tax and the West Virginia corporate tax. To determine a registered independent insurance, to determine whether or not they are registered, the Insurance Commission will make a decision on a benefit portable plan provider of who can administer these portable benefits. That's the bill, Mr. Speaker, and I urge adoption. Passage.
Question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Gentleman, the 80th, Douglas Williams, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the Vice Chairman yield for a quick question?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So does the employer have to be the designated payer on an account, or could the employer bonus out money to the employee to pay their own premium for a policy?
Yeah, they both can. They could already do that, but yes, they both could do that.
Okay, and so if the employer bonused it out so that they then pay, would that then be treated as regular compensation so that it would be taxed, or would that be considered tax-free income?
Well, they could do that now and bonus it. It would be considered as tax.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there further debate on the bill? Does the gentleman wish to close debate on the bill? If not, the question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. We had 91 ayes, 1 nay, and 7 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4009.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 692, authorizing green flashing warning lights on DOH vehicles.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman from the 10th, Douglas Anderson, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill comes from the Division of Highways and amends the code section on traffic code on lamp restrictions. The bill authorizes green flashing warning lights on vehicles operated by the Division of Highways, as well as other vehicles or equipment as designated in writing by the Commissioner of the Division of Highways. That is the bill, Mr. Speaker. I urge passage. Thank you.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result. On that question, we had 92 ayes, 0 nays, and 7 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 692.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4088, relating to certified public accountants.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman with 68th, Douglas Phillips, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The primary purpose of the committee substitute for House Bill 4088 is to add 2 additional pathways to licensure as a board-certified public accountant. Current code contains only 1 pathway to certification, and that pathway is retained in slightly revised language in this bill. This pathway requires an individual to obtain a bachelor's degree with an accounting concentration, plus an additional 30 hours of college education. This pathway also requires 1 year of work experience. The second pathway is to obtain a postgraduate degree with a concentration in accounting and complete 1 year of work experience. The third pathway allows an individual to obtain only a bachelor's degree with a concentration in accounting. Unlike the other 2 options, this pathway requires 2 years of work experience. Under all 3 pathways, an applicant would still be required to pass the Uniform Certified Public Accountant examination prior to certification. The bill also clarifies and updates several parts of Article 9, including provisions regulating substantial equivalency practitioners and firm names. The bill also removes vague good character requirements. I urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? Lady from the 70th, Douglas Petito, your vote's not registered. The clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result. On this question, we had 92 ayes, 0 nays, and 7 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4088.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4568, clarifying abusive process.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? If not, lady from the 20th, Douglas Drennan, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The engrossed subcommittee of 4568 clarifies the authority of the family court judge to prevent the abusive process. This creates the definition of abusive process as an act which includes, but not limited to, the willful or malicious misuse of misapplication or lawful issued process to accomplish some purpose not intended or warranted by that process, including but not limited to harassment, intimidation, improper influence of a litigant or witness. Colleagues, this bill was brought to me by one of my constituents who, prior to walking into the courtroom to testify against her abusive husband, was served with papers. Prior to this, I had no knowledge of how the process worked, but obviously it was something that we needed to work on. So I urge passage, and thank you for your time.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Gentleman from the 57th, Douglas Lewis, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The sponsor yield, please, for a question.
Yes.
So this bill has to do with service of process during court proceedings or on county property and public property, correct?
It actually just has to do with, it basically places it in the hands of the court, of the family court judge. So if it, to prevent the misuse of process. So they can still serve on county properties. That was the original bill.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
this is the ComSub.
All right. So I guess what I'm asking is, what is willful and malicious service of process? And I guess I'm asking because if there's no, like, if you can't find that person and that's your only opportunity to serve them, I'm just trying to figure out what constitutes it being willful and malicious.
This is why it's leaving it to the discretion of the court and to the judge so that she can interpret, make sure that lawyers aren't trying to intimidate the litigants.
Okay. So how would serving somebody, you know, a court document or what have you, how would that be intimidating or malicious? I'm just trying to figure that out.
If perchance your wife was getting ready to testify against you for being an abusive spouse, and right as she's walking into the courthouse, you have her served, or your lawyer decides to serve her with custody papers. That was this particular instance. And so obviously anybody going into the mindset of, I'm just going in to address my spouse, you've now brought my children directly into it, so you're gonna be off your game. So this puts it into the hands of the judge to interpret the use of process, to make sure that it is in fact something that not intended to harass or intimidate.
Okay. And this might be a question for counsel, but normally service is out of the hands of the party or the attorney of the party, correct? It's normally by, you know, a third party or sheriff or something to that effect. Am I correct? So they wouldn't.
This just basically puts it in the hands of the court so they can decide if there's misuse of the process as a whole. So it still ultimately just falls to the interpretation of the judge.
And I guess that's my next point. It seems to just be like overly vague because there's no set definition. So anything could be considered willful and malicious because there's no standard within the bill.
I'm not a lawyer. Obviously, okay. You know this about me. This was something that was brought that it needed. Obviously, the judges are there every day. They know the lawyers, They know how they work. So if they're intending to use the process to intimidate or in a way that's not necessarily kosher, then it's going to be directed and handled by the judge, which is why it puts all the power in the judge's hands.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gentleman from the 98th, Douglas Funkhauser, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield?
Thank you, Jay. Yes.
So this bill amends the section on the powers of family court judges, does it not?
Yes.
And then on line 10 there, we've got prevent abusive process. That's current law, right?
Correct.
And then your bill on lines 33, 30, 36 fleshes out sort of that abusive process. So it's still at the discretion of the judge, but we're giving them a little bit more guidance. So it could be anything based on the facts and circumstances of each case, right?
Exactly.
So we've got, they could misuse subpoenas or discovery, parties that file repetitive or baseless motions to harass the other party, using emergency motions or protective orders as leverage, repeatedly seeking continuances without cause, all based on the facts and circumstances of each case and the discretion of the judge. Is that right?
As a lawyer, I would say yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is there further debate on the bill? If not, does lady wish to close debate on the bill? The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. We had 91 ayes, 1 nay, and 7 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4568.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
House Bill 4709, relating to changing the process of election litigation.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? If not, gentleman, the 32nd, Douglas Holstein, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is equivalent to 2024's House Bill 4205, which passed the House 92-2, and last year's House Bill 2131, which passed the House 89-6, and provides that the legislature shall have legal standing to bring an action against state government officials or state election officials who make or attempt to make unauthorized changes in state election laws and state rules, or who waive such laws or rules. The West Virginia legislature, at its discretion, shall have legal standing to intervene as a matter of right, as a matter of real party and interest in any lawsuit, including but not limited to those seeking declaratory or injunctive relief by or against any state agency, department, or state government official regarding the legality of any election law or regulation, or involving any illegal or unauthorized changes or attempted changes to any state election law or regulation. Happy to take any questions.
The question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman from the 54th, Douglas Pushkin, is recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of when this would actually apply. So going back a few years during COVID, when there were changes where more people could apply for absentee ballot, that would apply to this. So then the legislature could, under this, could have gone to court to stop those changes?
If they would have chosen to, that's correct.
I mean, is that the intent of this?
No, the intent is for anything that would happen in the future if this body or the body across the hall decides to defend its laws, the laws that are on the book, we have the right to do that. That's what it's for.
So this just adds the legislature as having standing.
What's
this
that,
just
sir?
adds the legislature as having standing.
That's right,
So
at its
agree.
discretion. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there debate on the bill? Does the gentleman wish to close debate on the bill? If not, the question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result on that question. There are 82 ayes, 9 nays, 8 members absent. Majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
House Bill 4709.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4710, changing the limit on switching parties before filing to run for office from 60 days to 180 days prior to an election.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman, the 32nd, Douglas Holstein, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 4710 provides that a person seeking a partisan political office must certify that they, one, are a member of and affiliated with that political party as evidenced by the candidate's current registration as a voter affiliated with that party, and have not been registered as a voter affiliated with any other political party or independent of a political party for a period of 180 days, which is increased from current 60 days before the date of filing the announcement. Happy to take any questions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Gentleman from the 54th, Douglas Pushkin, is recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
So this is going from roughly 2 months is what's current law to 6 months.
That's
before
correct.
they file, they would have to declare a party.
That's correct.
Now, under current law, as we discussed yesterday, this doesn't apply to independents, but under your proposal, with the committee substitute that unfortunately was adopted yet or passed yesterday, that would apply to independents as well, unaffiliated voters and independents as well. They would have to choose if they were to run and get ballot access and run on in a party, they would have to make that decision 6 months prior to filing, correct?
Yes, sir,
Under your
that's
proposal.
correct. So like you said, under current law, it's 60 days from party to party and nothing for independents.
Okay, so what's the problem we're trying to address here?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with what the gentleman from the 18th said yesterday, is that, you know, the reason I proposed this bill last year and the reason we passed it out, I said I think a lot of it has to do with what the gentleman from the 18th said yesterday during the debate on the amendment that you had, which is the reason I introduced this bill last year and we passed it out of this body is because, frankly, I think it's good policy to have voters to know that the people that are running for elected office under the banner of a political party, you know, a lot of folks, as was mentioned, don't really hear from people or may not know who their candidates are. You got to have a lot of resources to be able to mail out everything and do that. And a lot of times folks just vote based upon the banner of party, and you don't want people to take advantage of that just because it's politically advantageous. That's the intent behind it.
You think it's a good thing that voters just vote based on the banner of party and not on the individual merits or ideas or platform of a candidate?
No, I don't think it's a good thing, but I think it's reality because the situation is it costs a lot of money to mail things out to voters. And, you know, frankly, everybody's reports are public. It's not like we have a lot to do, you know, a lot of resources to do that with. So folks are going to make the best educated decision that they can if they don't, you know, get information directly from their candidate, or if a candidate doesn't canvass every voter, then that's general assumption is that they're going to pick the person that closely aligns to their political party.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that if this was law, you know, over the past decade, that there would be several members of this body, mainly in your caucus, who would have been ineligible to run for office under this law? Would that surprise you to know you had a few independents or people who switched parties on your side of the aisle?
No, that wouldn't surprise me. They followed current law as written. So.
So you think it's a problem that they were able to file and run, and that's what we're trying to address?
Well, I don't think it was a problem. I think they followed the law, but what I'm trying to address is, we have an election cycle book that the Secretary of State publishes for candidates every year, usually 6 months or 8 months, I think, before an election cycle begins, to let candidates know. I think it's called the Candidate Handbook or something, to let candidates know what the rules are and let citizens know as well. So, I would imagine in that case they would have changed their party 6 months before if that was the case.
So you think, okay, so at the election, like the calendar, everything's published, you think 6 months prior to the election?
Yeah, and they could probably move it up if they need to.
So at that point,
a lot of it's existing.
And my main concern are independents. People are independent for a reason, but often they run one party or the other. As you can see, there are no independents serving in here or across the hall or anywhere in state government. There are no elected independents, and because also they don't have automatic ballot access through a party. But they're going to make that decision as soon as the calendar comes out. That's how you foresee this working out?
Well, they could, but again,
or they couldn't.
Well, again, I think it's important for voters to have an educated decision to make. And if you're a candidate for office, you're usually more of a hyper-engaged individual. They need to make a decision, and that'll be public information. I don't see what the problem is.
I don't see what the problem. Thanks for yielding.
Yes, sir.
I'll agree with that last part. I don't see what the problem is that we're trying to address with this bill, unless you think there are too many people running for office. This applies to folks that switch to want to run for one party or another, or my main concern, as I said before, is that forcing independents to make that decision 6 months prior before filing. A lot of us don't know what we're going to do 6 months from now, and a lot of people make that decision closer to the filing period, and this would keep a lot of good people, in my opinion, keep a lot of good people, some of whom I serve with right now, a lot of good people who are independents. Someone who's waving at me, a couple people who are members of other political parties in here, or independents, or members of several different political parties over the past decade, who filed for office and didn't make that decision 6 months prior, would have made you ineligible. I would consider, I think more of a problem be people switching parties after elected, not prior to filing. Maybe we should have a law that says you can't switch parties after you're elected. Personally, I wouldn't vote for that. I think it's unconstitutional. I think people should be able to choose whichever party they want to be in and run for office whenever they want and switch parties whenever they want. I wouldn't vote for a bill like that, but I think that's more of a problem that I hear about, people switching parties after they're elected, not prior to filing. So, I mean, what we used to do, we used to have a litmus test over here on this side of the aisle several years ago. We'd often ask the question, who does it help and who does it hurt? Who does this bill help? Limiting ballot access. Limiting ballot access, who does that help? And the only folks I think it would help are the people who are serving in office right now. This is an Incumbency Protection Act. That's what this is. It makes it harder, more difficult for people to file and run for office. Who does it hurt? Well, obviously it hurts independents more than anything else. Now, you've already closed your primaries to them. You'll make it harder for them to vote in the primary. Now you want to make it harder for them to vote, to run for office. But I think it really hurts voters, because what you're going to do is make certain folks ineligible who don't feel that strong of a loyalty to a party. They're less partisan type of folks, people who just want to serve the district. A lot of them, you're making them ineligible to run for office. You're creating an even more partisan atmosphere with a bill like this. As I said yesterday, if you want a litmus test, if you want some sort of party loyalty test, that's what primaries are for. Let your primary voters, which you just recently closed your primary to independents, so it'd even be more so now for Republicans. So who does it hurt? It hurts voters. We want to make it harder for people to run for office. That's what this bill does. Makes it harder for folks to put their name on the ballot and step up and serve their neighbors and their constituents. Makes it harder for people to run for office. You already want to make it harder for people to vote in your primary. Our job as elected representatives is supposed to be make life easier. Make it harder to run for office. Why don't you make it easier for people to afford their groceries? Why don't you make it easier for people to pay their electric bills? Why don't you make it easier so people can get access to health care if they get sick? Why don't you make it easier for them to get clean water?
Gentleman at 37th.
Thank you. According to rule number 5, I would ask the gentleman to confine his argument to the point before us.
That point is sustained. Is there further debate on the bill? Gentleman still wish the floor? Gentleman from the 25th, Douglas Hornbuckle, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, today I rise for the people of West Virginia. I rise for the people of West Virginia to preserve the right of choice. And I'm also inspired by my former Judiciary Chair, Tom Fass, and another election bill. When will they stop? It seems as if this is what we are fixated on for the past couple of sessions, is just on elections. And I don't know if it's to try to rig something or what it is to do, but that seems like the only thing that we are doing down here. Independents. They are that because they want to be independent. And they want to be able to go right, go left, or wherever they choose. But now in this bill, we're going to restrict their access to do that. I want to make it very clear, and just to be frank, I know sometimes we hear it in our districts and back home, but people always talk about politicians just doing something because you can. And we lose the trust of the public when we do these things. Just because we can. It's not right. It stinks, quite frankly. We need to be preserving the right for people to choose and do as they wish. And so, Mr. Speaker, again, I rise to vote this bill down. Thank you.
Are there other members who wish to be recognized on the bill? Gentleman of the 98th, Douglas Funkhauser, is recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Election integrity is important, and I think it is our job to ensure that our elections have the most integrity as constitutionally permissible. This bill treats all West Virginians, regardless of party, equally. I think that's a good thing, and that's why I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
The gentleman from the 5th, Delegate Fluharty, is recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Gentleman 32nd?
Yes, sir.
Gentleman does yield.
So how many individuals do we know filed within that new window? So we're at 60 now, between 60 and 180.
Oh, goodness.
How many candidates?
I would have no way of knowing that. That would be something we'd have to ascertain from the Secretary of State.
Did we not research that prior to bringing the bill?
And we could research it, but that's not relevant to whether this is the correct policy decision.
No,
or
it's
not.
relevant because we need to know how many candidates this impacts. So we just had a filing deadline.
Sure.
And there was no testimony that I recall from anybody in committee that brought in evidence as to how many individuals would be impacted by this. Is there any real policy or evidence behind this?
It's not a matter of needing evidence. It's just a policy decision on whether it should be 60 days or 180 days.
So it's
the
just
filing period's already passed. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's just based on preference.
Correct. The preference of this body. Absolutely.
Okay, it's not based on any evidence that was brought before us of election integrity being at stake with the current 60-day window?
No, I think what the gentleman from the 98th was saying is that, having clear guidelines on, backing it up a little bit is the preference. I think that's what he meant.
So,
I
but
don't
what
wanna
is,
speak for him.
what's the compelling state interest here? Like, what are we trying to fix that's broken?
I don't think there is anything broken. I think, again, it's just the preference. And
So the current system works?
Well, sure, the current system works. We could leave it at 0 days if we wanted to, but that's not the preference of this body, and hasn't been in the past.
So, but why make it 6 months? What's the policy decision for 6 months? Why not 9 months? Why not a year?
I mean, Florida made it a year. I mean, we could put whatever number we wanted on it. It's at the discretion of the legislature.
You'd agree with me, as most states, when we did learn a few of them in committee, we would be a bit of an outlier. We wouldn't be in the median.
I think we would be closer to the more strict ones, but we're
That's
not
right.
the strictest by far.
Okay, thank you for yielding.
Yes, sir.
Briefly, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman is recognized.
As Minority Leader stated, another election bill. I feel like I got to get in my spaceship with my tinfoil hat because we're running legislation nonstop down here based on conspiracy theories and theoretical outcomes, not based on facts or evidence. There has been no evidence provided that this is an issue. There's been no evidence provided why 6 months should be chosen compared to our current 60. And it really punishes people who think for themselves, which I thought our state was about freedom. The West Virginia way is about thinking for yourself, being your own person. And these individuals who aren't tied to partisan nonsense, independents are growing in West Virginia because they're tired of the partisan hackery that goes on down here. And we're shutting the door on them to participate in our democracy, which is what we should want. So we're just going to run legislation to protect these seats, to protect yourselves, because you want fewer primary contests. I like the candidate who something happens in their community and it drives them to participate in democracy, and they put their name on the ballot and they run for a cause and for a reason to make the state better. And we're going to close the door on them and say, well, you should just been a little more passionate 6 months earlier. It's nonsense. It's not how we do things in West Virginia, nor should we. We should welcome independent thinkers, welcome participation in our democracy, and not close the doors on it. So I won't be supporting the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman from the 80th, Douglas Williams, is recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, part of my understanding of election law and why many people are not in support of early voting, it's been put to me because they believe that the electorate should have as much information as possible going into an election. I've heard that a lot. So if you vote 10 days early, you won't have all the facts, all of the information. Similarly, with this, we are about to triple the amount of time that someone has to have a stated official political party to run for office. And that's just the way it is. It's a two-party system. I'm sure a lot of us have a lot of feelings on that, but if you want to run for office, you need to pick a party for the most part. And what I fear with this is that you have people who won't be able to operate on all of the information. Maybe in their community in December or even November, there's federal agents in their community that are kidnapping people, or high grocery costs that are out of control. And maybe they decide that they want to run for office. Well, you can't. Even though you're an independent, someone who stated, I don't feel comfortable maybe with either party, even though something may have moved you from that neutral position, one direction or another, you can't do it. You're not allowed. I also think from the standpoint of young people, whom we have many in the South Gallery today, we're having more and more registered independents because they don't want to play in the two-party system. But again, it's set up so that they have to. So you're going to exclude good, youthful candidates from running for office. I know we all learned about the American War of Independence. This more and more feels like the West Virginia War on Independence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Are there other members who wish to be recognized on the bill? If not, gentleman, the 32nd, Douglas Holstein, to close debate on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I think this bill is rather simple. I don't think we need a bunch of, people yearning for this legislation to say that it's right policy. I mean, again, other states have had more strict language. They have 365 days in Florida. Other states don't have any. I think it's a good policy for the state of West Virginia to have candidates that are running for office to know what they stand for and what party label they're going to run behind and inform their voters in that way. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I'd ask for the passage. Thank you.
Debate on the bill has been closed. The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. There were 79 ayes, 13 nays, 7 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4710.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title is read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
House Bill 5166, to provide notice to any political committees violating the filing requirements prior to assessing any civil fines and giving the Secretary of State authority to grant additional time for compliance not to exceed an additional 14 days.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having this bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman, the 18th, Douglas Butler, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 5166 is to provide notice from the Secretary of State to any political committees violating the filing requirements prior to assessing any civil fines and giving the Secretary of State authority to grant additional time for compliance not to exceed an additional 14 days. I urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman from the 54th, Douglas Pushkin, is recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, real quick. So completely under the discretion of the Secretary of State's office whether they would levy the fine or not?
Currently, it's not. In current code, it says you shall be fined if you're a little bit late. This just gives the Secretary of State the ability to give you a little bit of time to get your paperwork straightened up.
But do they have to?
Do they have to?
I mean, I just want to, everybody's going to be treated the same under this?
Notification within 14 days after the deadline that it hasn't been filed. Then if you complete it within 7 days and file it, there's no penalty. And if you show good cause, they can give you an additional 14 days.
Okay, so the answer to your question, do they have to give you this grace period? Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Question again is, shall the bill pass? Is there further debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result. On this question, we had 90 ayes, 0 nays, and 9 members absent. A majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
House Bill 5166.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5176 relating to creating the animal abuse database within the West Virginia State Police.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. The gentleman on the 55th, Douglas Akers, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 5176 is a companion bill to House Bill 4725 we passed last week. If you recall, one of the primary purposes of House Bill 4725 was to allow judges more discretion in terms of how long they could ban possession or ownership of an animal if someone had been convicted of either misdemeanor animal abuse or felony animal abuse. One of the issues we have, though, is there's no way in the state to really know who those convicted individuals are. So that person could go to an animal breeder, a pet store, a neighbor who's given away, puppies or kittens, some other animal, and the person who is conveying the animal would not know that person is actually prohibited from ownership or possession. So this bill sets up really one of the first in kind animal abuse registries in the United States. I'll give staff counsel, who's next to me here, a lot of credit for helping craft this bill. He looked at, I believe Florida as a state has passed a similar provision. So this bill in large part mirrors what's being done down there. What the bill does is it establishes a searchable animal database. The West Virginia State Police is the agency in charge of the database. Requires an annual fee similar to other registries we have in the state that the person who is convicted would have to pay to maintain the database. County prosecutors are required to notify the state police of the conviction so that the individual may be placed on the database. It then allows the individual who's on the database to petition for removal if their conviction has been set aside, expunged, or receive a pardon, or if they've been convicted of misdemeanor animal abuse, after 5 years, they may petition to be removed, or 15 years after a felony conviction, the state police are required to remove the person upon appropriate court order. That's a brief description of the bill, Mr. Speaker. Happy to take any questions and urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine. And lady from the 56, Douglas Young, your vote's not registered. The clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result. On this question, we had 89 ayes, 2 nays, and 8 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5176.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5182 relating generally to authorizing security personnel employed by the state treasurer to carry concealed weapons while performing his or her official duties.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? If not, the gentleman of the 55th, Douglas Akers, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill does what the short title says. It allows certain individuals employed by the state treasurer to carry a concealed firearm for purposes of self-defense or the defense of others. There are enumerated requirements within the bill The security personnel must meet certain standards, such as successfully completing training course. The certification course will be provided at the West Virginia State Police Academy. And if they're going to continue to carry concealed, Mr. Speaker, the individuals must complete an annual firearms qualification. Just for purposes of anyone listening or members of the body, there are treasurer personnel who do things such as perform inspections at vape shops, other places like that. If you're wondering why there may be a request that some are able to carry concealed, that's one of the bases for the request for this bill from the Treasurer's Office. That's a brief description of the bill, Mr. Speaker. We'll take any questions. I urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result. On this question, there were 91 ayes, 0 nays, and 8 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5182.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Are there other bills on third reading? If not, bills on second reading.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 207, clarifying sheriff's compensation for collection of taxes.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4599, relating to West Virginia CARES background check variance process.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4638, relating to registration of voters and voluntary registration of organ donors.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4712, increasing the criminal penalties for a DUI causing death to be known as Bailey's Law.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4765, teacher, school personnel, and state police pay raise.
Are there amendments?
Delegates Hornbuckle, Fluharty, Hamilton, Hansen, Garcia, Lewis, Pushkin, Williams, and Young move to amend the bill. This is HFA Hornbuckle et al. 2-18, number 1.
Chair will recognize the sponsor, gentleman from the 25th, to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our amendment is a good faith effort to raise salaries for our state employees. This amendment seeks to enhance the current form of the pay and raise bill by 3%, while also adding our Department of Highways and non-uniform correctional employees. The reason for this enhancement is because despite the initial 3% proposal, we still rank below our surrounding states. The governor speaks about competing in a backyard brawl. You know, putting West Virginia on a better path. The House Democrat pay raise will allow us to do just that. Thank you, colleagues, and I reserve the right to close.
Gentleman from the 72nd, Douglas Riley, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I seek a ruling of germaneness of the amendment to the bill.
The chair did review the amendment. The chair does rule that the point of order is sustained. The chair does rule that the amendment is not germane to the bill. Clerk will please report the second of the amendments.
Delegates Hornbuckle, Fluharty, Hamilton, Hansen, Garcia, Lewis, Pushkin, Williams, and Young move to amend the bill. This is HFA Hornbuckle et al. 2-18, number 3.
Gentleman from the 80th, Douglas Williams, is recognized on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The amendment before you is relating to an issue that I know we all find to be very important, and that is trying to help families, trying to strengthen families. And so this amendment is a parental leave bill for state employees that would give them 12 weeks of paid leave in the event of the birth of a new child or the adoption of a new child. There is a maximum set at $1,000 per week. I'm sorry, it's 90% of their salary with a maximum of $1,000 per week. We all know that this is an issue that's important for our people. We have folks out there who want to spend that time with their kids and they shouldn't pay for it. Another issue that I'll tell you is that after talking to folks at crisis pregnancy centers, of which this body has affirmed their support, there are a lot of folks who end up having a child prematurely and that child can't go to daycare. And so what this bill will do, it will also allow the parent to take the paid sick leave plus any sick days that they have accrued so that they could spend time with their child, because in that situation, they're in such a bind, there's nothing else that can be done. I would encourage a green vote for families, and I'm open to any questions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question again is on the adoption of the amendment. Gentleman from the 72nd, Doggett Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd seek a ruling on germaneness of the amendment to the bill.
Same ruling. Chair has reviewed the amendment. The chair will sustain the point of order. The amendment is not germane to the bill. Clerk will report the third amendment.
Delegates Hornbuckle, Fluharty, Hamilton, Hanson, Garcia, Lewis, Pushkin, Williams, and Young move to amend the bill. This is HFA Hornbuckle et al. 2-18, number 4.
Gentleman from the 80th, Doggett Williams on the amendment.
Good to talk to you again. The amendment now before you is another population that I know we all care about, that I know we all talk about back home, and those are our retirees, okay? People who retired 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago and are living on the same amount that they did back then. Inflation right now, it's awful. It has been awful for the past 4 to 5 years. But then you add in typical inflation over the course of 20 years, and our people can't make ends meet. Our retirees, the people that taught me, the people that made sure that the roads were paved so I could get to where I needed to go, the people that protect us, that keep us safe, they're destitute. They're destitute because they're tied to this fixed amount that we haven't adjusted, and this is a way to take care of it once and for all, so that when we assign the amount that we feel is the right amount to thank someone for their service to our state, that amount will keep up with inflation, and we won't have former state workers with GoFundMes trying to fund their lifestyle. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I hope to have the opportunity to close, and I would urge adoption. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 72nd, Doggett Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Seek a ruling on germaneness of the amendment to the bill.
Same ruling, same analysis. Chair did review the amendment. It does exceed the scope of the bill. Chair will sustain the point of order. Clerk will please report the next amendment.
Delegates Hornbuckle, Fluharty, Hamilton, Hanson, Garcia, Lewis, Pushkin, Williams, and Young move to amend the bill. This is HFA Hornbuckle et al. 2-18, number 5.
Lady from the 56th, Doggett Young on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so this amendment's a little bit different. I think it was honestly just left out of the original bill, quite frankly. And luckily, in 2024, this bill passed unanimously, and we're just adding it back into this pay raise. This is for our non-uniform corrections employees. For those of you who are here in 2023, we had a special session, actually, to address corrections. And we did new pay scale for correctional officers, and we promised the non-uniform employees we were going to give them a raise. We were going to do it when we came back in January. We gave them a one-time payment and promised to put a raise into code in 2024. And the House, we kept our promise in the House, and we passed it through the House, and the Senate didn't touch it. So all this does is this adds a $2,000 pay increase for those non-uniform employees so we can keep our end of the deal. And again, this passed unanimously in 2024, and thankfully the Vice Chairman of Finance and I were co-sponsors of that bill together. So I urge your support.
Question is on the amendment as just explained by the sponsor. Gentleman from the 72nd, Doggett Riley.
Well, I may enjoy the concept and agree with it. I request a ruling on germaneness of the amendment to the bill, Mr. Speaker.
On this very narrow bill, Chair does sustain the point of order. The amendment does exceed the scope of the bill and is not germane to the bill. Are there other amendments to the bill? If not, for what purpose, Gentleman, seek recognition?
Like it's a point of inquiry.
Yes, General, state the question.
How could offering a further pay raise to a pay raise bill? I'm just wondering for my own.
It is a good question. It is a good question.
It's a pay raise bill. The amendment was to raise pay. How could that not be germane?
It is a good question. Chair did review that, and we'll respond to it for the benefit of all members. The bill before us relates to only the 3 classes of state employees whose salaries are actually set by code. Every other state employee is set by administrative action in the state budget. Only 3 classes of employees of the state of West Virginia have salary schedules enumerated in West Virginia Code. Those are the 3 classes of employees enumerated in the bill. It's public school teachers in West Virginia, public school service personnel in West Virginia, and members of the West Virginia State Police. All other state workers and state employees, including our correctional officers and non-uniform correctional workers, are paid by administrative decision of the executive. So it would be in order to offer such an amendment to the budget, but not to the statutory provision authorizing and enumerating the pay scale for the 3 classes of employees named in statute. Are there other amendments to the bill? If not, the bill will be advanced to 3rd reading. Next bill on 2nd reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4990 relating to crimes using gift cards.
Are there amendments to the bill? If not, the bill will be advanced to 3rd reading. Are the bills on 2nd reading? If not, bills on 1st reading.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 256 authorizing DEP to promulgate legislative rule.
For what purpose does Gentleman to 100 seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I request to be added to HB 4819.
Objection is heard. Clerk will please read the first bill on 1st reading again.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 256 authorizing DEP to promulgate legislative rules.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 309 authorizing DOT to promulgate legislative rules.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4355 to create a new hunting license stamp for upland game bird.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4546 require biennial reports for limited liability and foreign limited liability companies.
Bill to be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4577 relating to driver's licenses.
Bill to be advanced.
House Bill 4730 developing a continuum of independent living and transitional support services for youth aging out of foster care.
Bill to be advanced.
House Bill 4819 relating to the use of criminal records as disqualification from authorization to practice a particular profession.
Bill to be advanced.
House Bill 4958 to create the Southern Coalfield Resiliency and Revitalization Program.
Bill to be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5197 relating to civil action to set aside a tax deed.
Bill to be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5212 relating to financial aid for post-secondary education.
Bill to be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5228 relating to clarifying the definition of electioneering.
Bill to be advanced.
House Bill 5273 relating to campaign financial statements by candidates for municipal office.
Bill to be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5430 relating to pharmaceutical benefits.
Bill to be advanced. Other bills on 1st reading? If not, leaves of absence. Gentleman from the 1st.
For our colleagues, Delegates Clark, Dean, Kump, Levitt, Bryan Smith, Vance, and Willis.
Are there objections to leaves of absence being granted? No objections are heard. Those leaves of absence will be granted. Introductions. Introductions. Miscellaneous business. Gentleman from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move, subject to announcements, the House adjourn until 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Are there announcements? Gentleman from the 1st.
Your Rules Committee, Mr. Speaker, will meet tomorrow at 10:45 in the Speaker's conference room.
Gentleman from the 72nd, Delegate Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Finance will meet tomorrow, February 19th at 9 a.m. in the Finance Committee room. The agenda will be posted. Your Subcommittee on Banking and Insurance will also meet tomorrow at 1 p.m. for a committee meeting in the House Finance Committee room. The agenda will be posted.
Gentleman from the 41st, Delegate Maynor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Subcommittee on Homeland Security will meet immediately following the floor session, and the Subcommittee on Legal Services will meet immediately after Homeland in the Judiciary Committee room. Your Judiciary Committee and Subcommittees will meet on Thursday, February 19th in the Judiciary Committee room. Committee on Judiciary will meet at 9 a.m. Republican members of the committee will caucus in the chairman's office at 8:45 a.m. Subcommittee on Legal Services will meet at 9:45 a.m. Subcommittee on Homeland Security will meet at 10 a.m. And your Subcommittee on the Courts will meet at 10:15 a.m. and all agendas will be posted. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 39th, Delegate Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Standing Committee on Government Organization will meet today at 1 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee room. The agenda is posted. Republicans will caucus at 12:45 in the chair's office. And additionally, your Standing Committee on Government Organization will meet tomorrow at 1 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee room. The agenda will be posted, and Republicans will caucus at 12:45 in the chair's office. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from the 92nd, Delegate Height.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Health and Human Resources will meet today, February 18th
at 3:30 p.m. in the Health and Human Resources Committee Room. Republicans will caucus at 3. Also, the Subcommittee on Public Health will meet today, February 18th at 4:30 p.m. in the Health and Human Resources Committee Room. Tomorrow, the Committee on Health and Human Resources will meet February 19th at 3:30 p.m. in the Health and Human Resources Committee Room, and Republicans will caucus at 3. The agendas are posted. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 43rd, Delegate Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Standing Committee on Education will meet today at 1 p.m. in the Education Committee Room. The agenda is posted. Additionally, your Standing Committee on Education will meet again tomorrow, Thursday, February the 19th at 1 p.m. in the Education Committee Room, and the agenda will be posted.
Gentleman from the 2nd, Delegate Zatesalo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Standing Committee on Energy and Public Works will meet today in the House Judiciary Committee Room at 3 p.m. The agenda is posted. I will let you know that the previously announced Energy and Manufacturing meeting, which was scheduled to be held immediately following the Energy and Public Works Committee meeting today, is canceled. And finally, your Committee on Energy and Public Works will meet tomorrow, February 19th, in the House Judiciary Committee Room at 3 p.m. The agenda will be posted. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 25th, Delegate Hornbuckle, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The West Virginia AFL-CIO Labor Caucus meeting will be in the Government Organization Room immediately after floor session today. Lunch will be provided.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday. At the request of members, the chamber will be available for remarks by members today beginning at 5 p.m. Are there other announcements? If not, the question is on the motion that the House adjourn until 11 a.m. tomorrow. Those in favor will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The House is adjourned until 11 a.m. tomorrow.